Good morning to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to KBC Channel 1 on this Monday morning. It is Sports Check on the 6th of March 2023. We'll be having conversations and this is about sport because this weekend Team Kenya will be in Dar es Salaam for the East African Under-18 and Under-20 Championships in athletics, and this is in the build-up to the African Championships for the Under-18s and the Under-20s that will be in Zambia in the month of April. We shall also be talking about beach games because on the weekend of the 18th, the National Olympic Committee of Kenya will be hosting the first Kenya Beach Games, and these beach games will be in Malindi, Kilifi County. So a lot of work has been going into that, and this is in the build-up to the beach games, the African Beach Games, the second edition of the beach games that will take place in Hammamet in Tunisia, and that will be followed in August by the World Beach Games that will be in Bali, Indonesia. And finally, it's election season when it comes to the Kenya Rugby Union. What are the ways out, and what's the way to get out of the sport politics, the extreme politics in sport, where you fight anything and everything and everyone? When it comes to that, Sasha Mutai, who wants to be KRU chairman, will be joining us at 11:15 p.m. And also in the field, we've got Bernard Okumu. He's going to be speaking to boxing coach and 2016 Olympian Benson Gisharo at the Madara Police Depot. That's where most of the national team members do train. And also from field reporters, we've got the Busia Youth Graduation Ceremony. It's happening in Busia County, in Budalangi. We've got the CPSC meeting happening in Kisumu, and later this afternoon, His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, is going to be launching the affordable housing project in Starehe. And going on right now is the progress on the implementation of malaria vaccines. So that's our news outlook for today. How do you get in touch with us? It's very simple. All you need to do is to get onto our Twitter handle. It is at KBC Channel 1. Mine is at Mr. Wahome. The hashtag is Sports Check. Our sign language interpreter is going to be coming up on your screens shortly. Is within this hour is going to be Lensa Odingo. So straight into our first conversation, and let's now, first of all, talk about the East African Under-18 and Under-20 Championships. Just a couple of weeks back, let me simply say, just 10 days back, the Nyayo National Stadium was a beehive of activity. 1,500 athletes. There were the seniors, the under-18s, and the under-20s. And the under-18s and under-20s were being selected for the East African team. Eventually, we have got 16 for the under-18s, and we have got 14 for the under-20s. To speak about that is the Athletics Kenya Youth Commission Secretary, Joseph Ilovi. Mwalimu, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Wahome.
Yes. Now, let's just start with that weekend, because I know for everyone in Athletics Kenya, I would describe it as one of the busiest weekends that was there. I won't even talk about the 28 hits in the 100 meters. That was huge. Let's talk about the under-20s and the under-18. First, let's talk about the under-18s who are in the selection process. What was the overall review from the Youth Commission?
I would say that that weekend was a beehive of activity, because for the first time we hosted a weekend meet for the seniors, and we also used the same weekend meet to select the under-18 and the under-20 athletes who are going to represent our country in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania this weekend. It was not easy because the seniors registered online, and our youth and our junior athletes registered on the day of the activity. So for the youth development subcommittee, it was not easy, but we managed because we employed some of our experienced personnel. The youth, when we talk about the youth, then of course we must talk about teachers, because the youth are in school. So we took their teachers and brought them to Nyayo Stadium. They did the registration and of course the verifying of the documents. So at the end of the day, we selected a team which is going to represent us in Tanzania on 10th and 11th this weekend. I would also say this is the first time that we did a selection of an East African activity. There before, we would only select from maybe known areas a few athletes. Like last year, we had only 10. 5 for under 18, 5 for under 20. So, and we didn't have a championship to select them. So I would say this time round, because of what is going on and what we are endeavoring to do at the end of the day, we said we want to select so that we can get a better team which is going to represent us. And of course, we also look at the phase of what is going to happen in Africa sometimes in April, because this team is going to give us the way forward. How are we well placed in which events, etc., etc.
Now, let's just go back to something that you've mentioned. Previously, it was picking sports people and then moving forward. Now, talk about this selection process and the criteria you are using, because the teachers had to bring in all these athletes, have them registered, then here you are and ready to, see that they meet particular criteria. Maybe you could also mention even that criteria in the process.
Yes, I would say the Tanzanian Championship or the East African Championships have very few events. For example, the under-20s, we didn't run 100 meters for women, but we did 200 meters.
Yes.
We did 400 meters. We did 1,500 meters, and we did 5,000 meters. And then there was javelin, and of course there is a relay. That relay was we have constituted a relay from the above the 200 meters and 400 meters will constitute
the 4x4.
When you go to, you can see now there are so many events which are missing.
Yes, that is.
Yes,
it's quite interesting.
Yes, that is actually the East African way of doing it. When we go to men, we had 100 meters. You see now there is 100 meters. We didn't have 200 meters, you see, but we had 400, we had 800, we had 5,000, long jump, and discus.
Actually, to mention it, there's the men's under 20 does not have the 1,500.
Yes, it was not there, and it is not us who did so, but the East African Commission decided that these are the events which are going to be done in East Africa. I cannot say where they derived that kind of a move from, but that is what they have been doing. Even last year,
yes,
it was the same way of doing things. When you go to the under 18, again you find out that there were very good events which we do very well in Kenya, but they were missing. This time round, we said, okay, because we have very many sprints in the East African fanfare.
Yes.
Then you can see the team that we selected has so many sprinters.
That is
the reason is because as in the youth development, we want to bring sprinters at par to the long, to the middle and long distance events that we do very well in the world, in Africa, etc. So that is why we have a big number of sprinters going to Tanzania this weekend. It can also be reflected again from a camp which is in France, the Miramas Club. Most of those athletes who are in Miramas, the 7 of them, most of them are sprinters. And we are saying, we want to bring sprinting events and even field events at par to the middle and long distance. So that when we come to choosing of teams, we don't only choose from 800 and above or 400 and above, etc. So that is what we are committed to do as the Youth Development Committee in Athletics Kenya.
Now, just taking a look at this, some events that are missing are the hurdles.
Yes.
The 100-meter hurdles for women, the 110 for men. Is there a way that you can have, them competing consistently rather than just training? Because we've seen, for example, Nusra Rukia growing through the ranks from when she was at the Under-18 Championships in 2017. 6 years later now, she should be competing, as a senior up there.
Yes, that is why I've said we have this camp in France. In fact, some of our athletes who are in Miramas are handlers, and they are doing very well. We have Peter Kidome, and he is doing very well. So we are saying, because this is a build-up for the East African
mentioned Peter Kidome, just remember that Kali, yes. what they call him, Kitom or something.
Yes. So we are saying that this is the East African activity is just a build-up to what we are going to be doing at the end of the day. I'm very sure when we come to the trials for the under-18 and the under-20 for the African Championships in Lusaka and Zambia, we shall have the handlers in, because we have them in our camps. We have about 25 approved camps in the country, and we have handlers in most of those camps who are training. So we shall bring them back to Nairobi on the 24th and the 25th of this month, when we shall do a trial. And I'm very sure we are going to get a very good team for the handlers, and even the steeplechase, which is
actually I was coming to that, because
1500, etc. You
can't have an East African Championship, Uganda, Ethiopia, Kenya now, and you don't have the 2,000 meter steeplechase for the under-18s. For you to keep them active, what's going on at the moment? Because schools are back. This kind of track and field is basically a term 2 activity.
Yes.
Term 1 is the combined events, the decathlon, heptathlon, and cross country. How are you keeping them active?
Yes, we have the camps that I've said, and of course we have our coaches who are at the ground and who are manning these athletes, and we want to trust that as Athletics Kenya, after this we shall be going round, of course, and checking on who is doing what, who is doing well, where, etc. Unfortunately, the calendar for the schools will not favor the school going, most of maybe the best students to come into the affair of Africa, because I know the secondary schools have started. They are now in their sub-counties.
Yes.
And when they will be going for their regional championships, we shall be doing a trial. That is a conflict. But we want to believe that because we have an MOU, that next year, I would say this was a teething problem because of after COVID.
Yes,
we didn't get together formulate the calendar together with the Minister of Education. But I want to believe next year we shall formulate it that way, that the athletes will be able to compete in the secondary schools, and maybe at the end of the day come for a kind of a triangular where we have the trials at the end of the day. But for this year, it will not be possible, because when they go to their national level, the athletes who will have been chosen to represent Kenya for the African under-18 and under-20 will be competing in Zambia.
That is the term 1?
Yes, term 1.
And which athletes do you risk losing here when it comes to athletics?
Of course,
because we know that the last time we had the games was when 2018.
2018, yes.
Yes, in Togo. So, which group of athletes do we risk losing when it comes to the competition? Is it the steeplechasers, and say up to the 5,000, or are we also looking at some of the sprinters?
I would say if the schools did not come back, we were risking to lose a lot, because our harvest from the youth department is from the schools, because I've said they are school-going children. So, of course, we have some new talent which is coming up from the coaches who are at the ground and who are teachers. They have already recruited some very good athletes in steeplechase. They have done some very good work in 1,500 meters. They have done very well in 5,000 meters. The calendar, for example, for the primary, does not include 10,000 meters. Yeah. So we would say the primaries will go up to 5,000 meters.
I think that's the max. That is the max for the under-18s.
Because of their age. Then the secondary schools can go up to 10,000 meters. I would say we have coaches who have camps, and of course who are placed in the 25 camps already. Most of them are teachers. So I would say they have already put their students or their children in those camps. And if anything, we may not lose a lot after the COVID, but we may be gaining, because from the way the championship was done, the selection was done at Nyayo. I would say we are getting better athletes in the sprints, of course, and we are getting better athletes even in middle and long.
Oh,
because a youth running 14:02 and is a youth and under 16, I mean under 18. That means that athlete,
Sharon Mora.
Yes, that athlete after some time will be able to do very well when it comes to the big championship. I want also to believe, even during this selection, most of the athletes were not very ready. It is still in the beginning, so they were still building up. So it was like they have come for a competition to gauge where they have reached. And now that I know the coaches wrote notes on that, and I think they are correcting them down there. So when it comes to the trials of the under 18 and under 20, I'm sure we are going to get a very good team.
Now let's just pick this, something new, interesting that I picked up from the team that was selected. Normally at age grade level, we look at 2 athletes per discipline. But in the girls' 100 meters for the under 18 championship, you've got 3 athletes picked up. Yes. What was the criteria?
Yes, we picked 3 because of a reason. We have we have Sharon Mora from Kiberezi, we have Jacqueline from Machakos, and we have Selfa from Nagena boarding primary school. This is a girl, the 3rd athlete,
Selfa
Ajiambo. This is a girl who started running last year during the national championships in Kigari, where she was #1 in the whole of this country in primary schools. Somehow there was that rumor that primary schools you go to East Africa, which never came to be. So she kind of suffered a lot because she was told you'll be going to East Africa, and she kind of thought maybe my position was given to another. So when this one was discovered, we went for her. I think the Ministry of Education and the Kenya Academy of Sports went for her. And when they got her from her home, she was found to be a needy child.
Yeah.
That is how she was sponsored to go to Nagena boarding this moment. She was position 3. And we wanted to give her that chance to go to Tanzania, because the primary school, the secondary schools, East African championships were in Arusha, Tanzania. So this time when we said, let us take this girl to Tanzania, where she was supposed to go last year, and she never went. She'll be doing 2 events. In fact, we have not put her there just to travel, but she'll be doing 2 events. One will be 100 meters, 100 by 400 meters relay. She is in the relay team for under 18, and she is also going to do the under 18 mixed relay, where we have 2 boys, 2 girls. So she will be competing in 2 events. That is why we chose 3, so that we may tell the girl it is possible that you can go to Tanzania, even if you didn't go.
Well, the opportunities that come with sport, as you can see for these youngsters, they are all there. Now, we know that Coach, you mentioned the boys' 100 meters has been excluded, but there's only one pick in the 200 meters, Duncan Kipngeno. Was the competition that stiff, or is there some gap that you may need to look at?
Yes, there is only one athlete in 200 meters in the under 18, and there is a reason that when we went to the selection, this is the only boy who did well. The others, in fact, he ran at 22 point something, while the others did at 24. And you know, 24 in 200 meters is for girls. Yes. So we thought...
Actually, 22 is quite fast. You should be competing with the seniors.
Yes.
I hardly see a 21 here.
Yes. So that is why we chose him alone. We would have chosen 2, but the others were very far much behind. That is why we did not select a second one.
Let's talk about the field events. First, I'll talk about the under 18 girls. Christine Musembi in the javelin and Jensen Ligo in the long jump.
Yes. Christine Musembi is actually going to Tanzania the 2nd time. Last year she was in Tanzania and she's a silver medalist. We want to believe she will prove from silver to gold. Then we have Ligo. Ligo is in fact, I would say, even the academies are coming up. the private schools, because Ligo is not from the government school. She's from a private school in Nairobi, known as Premier. I would say they have done a lot.
Premier Academy down?
Yes.
Forest Road?
Yes. So it is our first time. Jensen is her first time competing, even competing in Kenya, and she was able to be #1 in the long jump. And I want to believe when she goes to Tanzania, she will come with a healthy wealth of experience to make sure that she also secures a position in the African team, which is going to be selected later this month.
Field events for boys, can't see her name.
With the field events, in the under-18 boys, there was not even a field event, not even one. I've said the East African committee
excluded them.
Yeah, it is not there. Even last year, the team that we sent to Tanzania, there was no field event for the under-18 boys. So I think maybe one time we shall talk to them and tell them it is good, because they were asking why have we not been given a chance like the others. The others had been given two events each, but we selected from like in the under-18 girls,
yes,
we selected the 2 events because they did well. When we go to the under-20, you are going to find out we selected only 1 in the under-20 women.
Yes.
Because the men field events, they could not, I mean, yeah, we also selected 1 under-20 for long jump.
For long jump.
For long jump. But under-20 men, there was also discus, but they could not measure. In the under-18, under-20 women, there was shot put, and they could not measure.
Because
so
you must.
We opted not to select 1.
Because you can't use tape anymore.
Yes.
So you have got to use the what is it called? The equipment used by some.
Yes.
So what's the least they can do? May know 1 or 2 surveyors.
Yes, I want to believe if the government would provide for some good stadiums where we have gym, where we have areas where the equipment is at hand, because most of our athletes are in the rural areas, where they don't know even a shot put is like what. One time I used to train shot put, and you know what I was using? A stone. I got a stone and I made it like a shot put. And it is the one that I was using. I didn't even measure the weight. You see, that is exactly the kind of scenario in the rural areas. So I would say if the government...
So in this case where you train somebody, say, with a 5 kg shot put, but eventually they are going to compete with 7.
Yes, you see, that is now a mismanagement, because one has been trained using a lower weight than what he or she is supposed to be using at the end of the day. When we go to javelin, most of those people in the rural areas cannot afford a javelin, which is 16,000 Kenya shillings. So they will just get a small tree, make a javelin and throw it, and that is what they do. I'm saying the government can come in. We have stadiums which have been mentioned all over this country. How I wish the government would finish those stadiums, furnish them with equipment, make sure that in the stadiums there are gyms, because when it comes to shot put, when it comes to discus, when it comes to javelin, these athletes must have a gym. And those gyms should be given, the employees in the gym should also know what they are supposed to do with athletes, not just building the body alone. So I would say if the government would provide at least each region, they get a stadium which is well equipped, then we shall be going into the field events and we shall be doing very well.
Well, talking about a gym reminds me of high school. You know what they did? They pick a pipe, 2 paint cans.
That is it.
Fill them with concrete, and now that becomes your weight for everyone.
Yes.
And
yes,
as it comes to this, it means that for you, I mean, if you're going to develop some of these for the technical events, and also for the sprinters, they do need a lot of gym.
Yes.
What collaborations are there, for example, with the Ministry of Education, the Kenya Secondary School Sports Association, the Kenya Primary School Sports Association, such that the knowledge that you have is passed on to teachers, and they can work with most of these athletes as they continue with their education?
Yes, I would say in the youth department we have already discussed this issue about equipment, and I want to thank my chairman, Mr. Baranaba Koril, because he is already on the run. We have also asked for money from the government, from the Ministry of Sports, and we want to believe that when it is approved, we shall go and buy this equipment. When we buy them, we shall deliver them to the camps, especially to the camps that we have already located in the whole of this country. That way now, that javelin thrower from Ukambani will have the same measure with that javelin thrower from Masai Land, from Samburu, from Nyanza, from everywhere. So that is what the youth department has already done, and I want to believe it is going to be actualized. The Ministry of Education, I've said already, we have an MOU with them. So if they will not have the equipment, but I know the secondary schools have, if they will not have this equipment, we can even also give out. We can give out some of this equipment to the primary schools, because I know that the primary schools are the ones who do not have this equipment. We can donate so that even the primary kids are given the right measure, the right weight, the right technique. The other thing is us as youth department, we want the teachers to do what they know, not what they think. So in that case, we have ADC, which is housed at Kasarani. We are going
the African Development Center,
yes.
That one that's headed by Ibrahim Hussein.
Yes, the director is Ibrahim Hussein. We want to cooperate with them so that when we get teachers who can go for training, then we can nominate them. And we tell the ADC, can you train these people on this and that and that? So at the end of the day, we shall have knowledgeable teachers, knowledgeable coaches all over the country, and they are going to be reading in the same page.
Having the knowledgeable teachers, it means, for example, those, I know Mr. Paul Mutu is in charge of technical.
Yes.
He's a vice president technical, and that means imparting knowledge such that there is what we would call a standard coaching system in the country. If it, especially, for example, I can mention when it comes to sprinters, they know that there is a particular way to hand over the baton in the relays.
Yes.
How much is being done such that like what you said, coach with what you know, not what you think?
Yes. That is why I'm saying Athletics Kenya, the youth subcommittee is just a smaller committee in the Athletics Kenya.
Yes.
The larger association is Athletics Kenya. So with the senior vice president, Mr. Paul Mutui, in the technical committee, or in the technical, as the technical director, I would say after we approve the teachers or the whoever that we are going to approve, then we are supposed to give, or we are going to give to the technical committee, who are now going to second those names to ADC, and that way we shall be imparting knowledge to the coaches so that they may coach from what they have learned. This time round again, I would say coaching is not the same as the 1990s.
Oh yes,
there is a lot of science. So that is why I'm saying we need our coaches to, even those ones who are senior coaches now, they also need to accept to go back to ADC or to go back to the university, kind of check what is the body metabolism and how does it work when an athlete is running. Because it is like us, we are still training like the whole days when there was no knowledge. So that is why I'm saying the coaches will have to go to those courses, and at the end of the day, I'm very sure we shall have a common factor in the training of our athletes.
Now, let's come down to this. When you're looking at the criteria for Zambia in April,
yes,
these championships, it's the second time they're being held in this hybrid format, under 18 and under 20 in Africa. Basically because after Nairobi 2017, the under 18s became a regional, I mean, as World Athletics would say, there would be competitions would be at area level. What's the criteria for having athletes there, and how will you adapt to it, considering what you have told us about Dar es Salaam?
I think it is not going to be difficult, because in 2019, I was one of the coaches who traveled to Ivory Coast with Team Kenya for the under-18 and under-20. And we did very well. In fact, I would say our under-20 will be the defending champions in the championship in Lusaka. Our under-18 were position 2. We were beaten by South Africa. So the criteria of choosing will be just the same. I want to believe if we are going to get maybe the times needed for the athletes to be selected to those events, we shall adhere to them. If we are not going to get, like in East Africa, we didn't have entry standards. But I know in the African affair, we shall have entry standards. We are going to choose. And in 2019, we had about 46 athletes. It was a very big team. So you can be sure when we go to Zambia, it is also going to be a big team. In fact, we selected from all the events that we did. All the events that we did at Nyayo, we selected at least athletes. For the field events, because of the entry points, we selected 1. For the middle and long, we selected 2. There is even an event that we selected 3. I think it was 5,000 meters. Yeah. We selected 3 for the under 20 in Ivory Coast. So those are the guidelines. At least for the middle and long, we shall select 2 every athlete, 2 athletes. For 400 meters, because we have some very good athletes in 400 meters, like Elkana. Elkana is in Miramas, and he did a personal best in 400 meters indoor, 47.
Yes, I remember watching that.
Yes, 47. So I'm very sure in 400 meters we shall select 2 for the men and even for the women, because we still have Damaris Mutunga, who is a silver medalist for Cali, from Cali, Colombia last year, and she is training in Miramas at this moment. She has the best time in Kenya, I think, 51 point something. So she's still going to be an under-20 athlete in Lusaka. So I'm sure 400 meters. 400 meters handles, we shall be able to select at least 2 athletes. Where we may select 1 athlete, about 200 meters, 100 meters, etc.
Now the other one I want to bring in is the relays. How do you get them working? Because African champions already in the 4x100 meters. The women's, the senior women, I mean, they've created a pace. They've set the pace all along.
Yes.
Although basically I call it team police and a friend. when it comes to
sure.
It's the truth.
It is true.
For the senior women, it's team police and a friend. But how do you then make sure that they get everything right? Because I remember in Birmingham, everyone was looking out for Team Kenya. Then changeover 1 just went wrong. But such that we don't have that.
Those are mistakes which are done in sports, of course, and we agree that we have.
The Americans have done it twice.
Yes. Big nations have done it. So Kenya also did it in the Commonwealth Games. I want to say that like the East African event, all the categories will have relays.
Yes.
So what we did not select relay athletes, but when we went for example, the under-18 girls, we shall have 4x1. So we have 4 girls. Who are they? We have the 3.
Morang, Nguyen, and Jambo.
Yes. Then there is an athlete. There are those 2 athletes in 400 meters there. They will also, one of them, and Beatrice, this is Beatrice Machuka.
Yes. We
will team up to go for the 4x1. That is how it is going to be made. When we go to the boys, we shall have the 200 meters athletes, the 200 meter athlete, The 400 meters athletes, there are 2, and 1 800 meters. That is Kelvin Kimutai. That is 4x4 because their relay is 4x4.
Yeah.
The under 18 is 4x4. So that is how we have formed the relay. When they come today, we are going to be with them here in Nairobi today and tomorrow. And we shall be leaving to Tanzania on Wednesday, on 8th. These athletes now will be coached on what they are supposed to do in handling of the baton, because it is very important. And we have sprint athletes. I mean, we have sprint coaches whom we have attached to this team. So that will be their mandate. When they come, they will be told, these are the relay people. Can you coordinate? Because we want a gold in Tanzania. When it comes to the under 20, the same. We have formed relays from the athletes whom we selected. When it comes to the seniors, of course, sometimes they select a full relay team. And
with a reserve.
With a reserve.
With reserves, actually, yeah, 2 reserves.
Yeah, with the reserves. But that one is not taken care of in the under 20s or under 18s. Even when we ran the relays in Ivory Coast, and in fact we beat everybody in 4x4 under 20. We used those athletes who were still running their own individual events, and we did very well.
Another event that's coming up is the Africa Youth Games.
Yes.
Interesting, we're going to have people from National Olympic Committee of Kenya. We've got 2 guests from the National Olympic Committee of Kenya coming to speak about, mainly about the beach games. But this is part of, you have to prepare a team for that.
Yes.
Going to Congo.
Yeah.
What's the build-up after Lusaka in April?
I would say we started even earlier than the Lusaka affair or even the East African affair, because in December we had a camp. We were asked by NOC to give 10 athletes, the under 18 athletes.
That was in Isinya.
Isinya. So we gave out a team of 10 athletes who were training there. Now, as the youth department, when NOC comes with the criteria, with the number of athletes that they want to present in Congo, we shall see whether we are going to have a trial, or we may use the East African Championship in Tanzania and the African Championships in Lusaka to get the best athletes, and then we shall present them to NOC. But that one will come after NOC tells us what is the number of athletes that they want.
Well, I will also mention this, Mwalimu. Kenya has a world champion in the under 20 in race walking. Where are we with race walking? Because we've seen, Samuel Gadimba, Emily Ngi, all performing at the highest level. Now we've got Harrison Wanyonyi, who has now moved up to the seniors, but that gap needs to be filled.
I would say we are very lucky. We are very lucky, Bwana Wahome, because last year when we were choosing the team to Kali, the boy who was position 2, Dangeli. Dangeli is doing very well. In fact, in the weekend meet in Nairobi, with the seniors, he was position 3, and he is doing very well. He has done 43 point something minutes in 10,000.
Yes.
So I want to believe he could be replacing Wanyonyi very well, because he is a training partner of Gadimba now as we talk.
Wow, I mean, if he's training with Gadimba, bronze medalist at the Worlds,
yes.
What has been the response from him? Because we know if you go train, if you're taken through Gadimba's regime and style, something different comes in.
Yeah, I've been talking to him, and they are doing very well. Mr. Kariuki, the secretary in Nairobi region, is actually coaching them in Nyeri. So those 2 are doing very well, and I know because Ndangeli is in my jurisdiction. I know I have a boy who is going to do very well in the African Championships in Lusaka. I can be sure because I've been talking to him. I know what he's doing. I saw him during the weekend meet in Nairobi, where he did a longer distance, of course, and he was able to beat even the big names to position 3.
All right, now I know you have got 30 athletes to welcome to camp, so I know you make these requests. So I'll let you have some final word here. there is a lot of build-up to what the AK has made it deliberate. That we are there is a plan to have more younger athletes competing for places in Team Kenya, and this is as we head to Paris 2024 and also the 2025 World Athletics Championships. What's the entire plan to ensure that there is a firm foundation such that after Budapest this year, somebody may not really know what to expect, but there is something strong coming through?
I would say, as a youth department, of course, we have a database of our athletes. Those athletes that we started, since we started the camps, we have a database and we are following them up. I can assure you that even in Budapest, we shall have youth athletes, we shall have under 20 athletes representing Kenya. That one is for sure. Because I know what my smaller athletes are doing and what the seniors are doing. So what we are saying is we want these athletes to grow from one category to the other. Not that time when you saw an athlete in under 18 and you never saw him or her in under 20, or you never saw him or her in the senior category. Those days are gone. Because
the progression has got to be consistent.
It must be.
We're losing what? 80% of our under 18s and under 20s?
Yes, it must. And that is why we have placed those camps. And we have mandated the coaches that we want a progression. We don't want cheats. We don't want people to cheat, maybe cheat their hench, etc. Because when you cheat your hench, automatically the mileage will come to stand. Because you are not young.
Yes.
So that is why we have a database.
A doctor will catch you eventually.
Yes.
By the kind of treatment they give you.
Yes. So we have kept the documents of those athletes intact. Now we don't want any athlete to change into somebody else. But we want to see, this is Joseph Ilovi in this camp, born 2006, December 31st. He grows to the senior category, Joseph Ilovi, born 2006, December 31st, with that event on the hub. So we are saying our build-up for the youth athletes is to make sure that they compete in the youth category, they compete in the senior category, and maybe they also compete in the marathons after they are aged. When they cannot do the 10,000 meters, they grow to the marathon and they become champions of this world. So that is actually what we have done. Our database is guiding us that we have these athletes. We have 50 athletes in cricket, for example, because that is one of our camps, and the 2 or 3 have graduated to the senior. Where are they? Can we see them compete in the senior category? If we don't see them compete in the senior category, then we have a question mark. Where are these athletes? Then we are saying, we are following. We shall go to cricket, ask about these athletes because they were there. If they transfer to another place, we shall also face it and see what are they doing. Because we don't want our athletes to finish running when they are young. We don't also want our young athletes to go to doping. That is why we are following them up. So we are saying our camps are safe. Our youth camps are safe. And we want the athletes to be safe even when they go to the senior category. That kind of teaching that somebody can enhance is or running by taking a substance, we are saying no. That is wrong. And we want our athletes to compete clean and win clean. That is it. So we are following those athletes and seeing what they are doing. And maybe what kind of a program are they doing? Is it a program that is going to see them maybe better their performance, or it is a program which is going to make them maybe lose their performance? So we are following up that kind of a system in the youth department.
All right. Thank you very much, Mwalimu. He's Joseph Ilovi. He is the secretary of the AK Youth Development Commission, and they are preparing for the East African Under 18 and Under 20 Championships. They will be taking place from the 9th to the 11th. That's this weekend, basically, in Dar es Salaam at the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium. So they will be competing. I hope they're ready for Joto Dar es Salaam?
They are ready.
They are ready?
They are ready.
Let me just go to Mombasa at the moment. I don't want to go to Dar es Salaam. It can be extremely hot at this point.
Yeah.
So there they are. The athletes are reporting to camp today. They travel on Wednesday, and well, we wish you and your contingent Godspeed.
Thank you.
And the medals, please.
Thank you.
Just do what you have always done.
We shall keep you updated.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll be taking a fast break right now. And when we come back, we'll be moving into a conversation about playing on sand. There are the Africa Beach Games in June in Tunisia. We also have got the World Beach Games in Indonesia in August. But before that, in just about 12 days' time, it's going to be the Kenyan Beach Games, the first ever organized by the National Olympic Committee of Kenya. We've got the programs officer from the National Olympic Committee of Kenya, Susan Thiambo, and the technical director of the Kenya Beach Games, John Ogola, coming up next.